Ladies and gentlemen, friends and relatives, people of the world, Shadowdark! My name is Who Cares, and this is Shadowdark. Aw, yeah. Bow, 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 bow. Bow, 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 bow. Bow, 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 bow. Bow, bow, bow. Yeah! Okay, let's get started, baby! Shadowdark. I have a card beside me that says how to review. It says, stupid camera. I have a little card on me that says how to review stuff. And it says, Thieves the book claims to have. Do the mechanics support the Thieves claims? And do I like the book? This is Shadowdark. Incredibly evocative cover right off the bat. Isn't that sick? Isn't that sweet? Ladies and gentlemen, people of the world, my name is Mau Mau. My name's not Mau Mau. That's my cat's name. And this is Shadowdark. Look at that. Shadowdark. Okay, first off, A5 size, right off the bat. You can see that's a lot smaller. Here, just for comparison's sake, let me grab a thingamabobber. Here's the PHB, because we all love acronyms for some reason. I hate it. Too many acronyms in the world, man. I could never be an accountant or business person. Anyways, Player's Handbook. It barely fits on my, camera, which is just my phone that I will, anyways. Yeah, Player's Handbook. I'm getting distracted. I have to cut all of this. Did you have a good day today? I hope you had a good day today, because I want you to know it would mean a lot to me if you had a good day. Because sometimes, and if you did have a good day, I want you to hang in there, because while everything might seem rough, I promise you, it's not forever. You know, winter ends. That's my promise to you, that winter will end. And summer will come, and spring, hope's eternal. Anyhow, Shadowdark. For size comparison, 2014 D&D book, Shadowdark. This is the side of it, and this fits here. Look at that! Wow! Isn't that cool? A5 page paper. It's basically a half, right? So if this was A4 or I think letter for you Americanos out there, and then this is A5. Or, I don't know what you call, what do Americans call a letter and, not legal. Legal's the long one. It's gonna bother me. I'm not gonna be able to let it go. Pamphlet? No, that's not it. It's something probably dumb, like business, letter, or a document, or whatever. Anyways. Why am I putting this away? I need this. Shadowdark. Boom, I wrote this. How to review. Thebes the book claims to have. Do the mechanics support the Thebes claimed, and do I like the book? Okay. Shadowdark is incredibly evocative. Right from the get. Look at this art. Wow, I mean, it really stands out. I think it's absolutely gorgeous, and it also it shivers. You know what I mean? It's pretty neat. It's fun to look at. It's a gorgeous book. You show someone this, they're gonna be like, "Whoa, what is that?" Right? It's good. It's good from the get go. I'm overheating already. Right off the back, you look at the book, and you'll notice on the this is your GM screen. It's just the book. If you have the book open with the first pages at the front and the first pages at the back, or the last pages in the back, you know what I mean? This is the book. And this is just a reference material. That's really cool. We need to do this way more often, because it's so much easier to just have this in front of you. That's all. You just need the book. You don't need a GM screen, which is great. I think we should try to run games without GM screen, because it's, it kind of opens the table up. You're less separated from the players, less of a god complex. But, yeah, Shadowdark. Alright, so themes of the book. Let's go over that. Big, fucking, fat fingers because of the gloves. See, now that I learned how to cut stuff for the last video, I'm just gonna kill time. Because I know how to do it, but it just makes more work for Editor Zach in the future. Editor Zach, if you're listening to this, go get a nice cup of hot cocoa and relax, okay? It's not that hard. Relax, okay? I did the laundry and I washed the dishes. I did all the chores. I just gotta vacuum and make the bed, and everything's gonna be okay, alright? I gotta do... Why am I justifying this to you? Look, man. I'm awkward. I'm trying. You know what? We're gonna try together. I'm gonna drink some coffee. I drink it black. Like Shadowdark. Oh, the inky blackness. It introduces itself to you as you enter the tomb. Okay. Look at that. That's awesome. In these nighted halls, doom and gloom. Doom and glory bloom eternal. This is the story of the Shadowdark. Holy cow, man. Alright. Okay, so, what is up with Shadowdark? Where is the... I skipped it. Alright. So, first off, lovely book. I love it. It's got the, fancy ribbon bookmark, which is always lovely to have. Feels nice. It doesn't stay, open. It kind of does that. That's fine. Well, it's a book, But, I brought this little guy. He's gonna help us. Oh. He's going to help us, beep, 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 do our thing. Or not. Come on, buddy. Help me out here. Oh, that's not gonna work. Let's do that. There you go. See? The basics. He's the basics. Because you need a little guy like him in your life, That's how it's about. Gotta have a little guy, Little guys make the world go around. Look at that. We're black themed today, because, Shadowdark. Alright, so. Shadowdark. Wait. This is not themes. This is not themes at all. The basics. Not the themes. Alright. Shadowdark. So you have a cool little kind of blip of how it feels, the theme. And the theme explains here, what is Shadowdark? What defines the game? How do I play? Okay, well, I'm not going over how you play. I'm going over the book. Essentially, it's 5e stripped down. Everything's just fucking Dungeons and Dragons now, okay? I'm sorry, that's how it is. It's like, if you want to get your friend, if you want to find people to play with for TTRPG, I hate it, for storytelling games like this, with dice mechanics, then you're gonna have to play Dungeons and Dragons, or say, it's like Dungeons and Dragons, but that's just the safety blanket we have to have. This is not a Dungeons and Dragons rant, this is a video about Shadowdark. Doing a Shadowdark. This is not me reviewing Shadowdark. This is me asking you, politely, please, sir, would you like to have some Shadowdark? This is that. This is some Shadowdark. What is Shadowdark? Okay, look, right off the bat. I like books with strong thematic components. This is very strong themes. It's about delving into some dark layer and surviving through the darkness. No dark vision. Thank God. Ugh. Get rid of... I don't care about your dark vision. Oh, I entered you were in the dark, evil temple of the, forgotten temple of the lonely god in Carcosa. Wow, the inky blackness introduces you to nothing. You see nothing. I have dark vision. Who cares? Okay, I'm shouting. Starting level stats. You know what? Who cares? So, Shadowdark. It's like D&D 5e, but, and the but's pretty important, but it's grittier. So, I really like Shadowdark. It's really cool. Should you play Shadowdark? Yeah, absolutely. So, right off the bat, gorgeous art, big font, which is fantastic. And the small book size makes it easier to carry around, which is really nice and to share, right? Now, it is a bit daunting. There's a lot of pages, which is great. I like having big books, but if you're like, oh man, I'm not really quite sure if I like Shadowdark, dude, I got, yeah, I'm not quite sure if I like Shadowdark, Mr. Reviewer Guy on the internet. I would like something else. I would like to, maybe, like, have a taste, a sneak peek. Dude, yo, my guy, I got you. Check it out. Game Master Quick Starter Guide and the Player Quick Starter Guide. These were for free. Okay, not the actual paper in the alright. These PDFs were for free. I printed this off letter paper. Whoop. And then I just printed it off as a booklet. And look at that. And then I panicked because I had a game that night and I binded it with this. This is my favorite color with this stuff. And look at that, it works. Anyhow, these are basically small quick start guides. It literally says quick start guide. You hand this to the player. Here you go. Turn over. Random character generator for Shadowdark. And then you go over and you just make it. And it's perfect for a one shot or like a short session or a couple nights of play because it has everything you need to play. Shadowdark really is just a big book. Yeah, just a bigger book that you could play for longer because it has more spells and random numbers and generators to roll on, which is great. But I'm losing how to review. Themes the book claims to have. Okay, I'm getting lost in the sauce. I gotta take a step back. I just wanted to point out, if you want to try Shadowdark, you can. There's this, it's really neat just to print these off and look through them, and like I said, the big font and the size of it's perfect. Just print like a booklet and then just fold together. Like, you could just staple this or do what I did, which was just like cut holes into it and with scissors or a hobby knife, and then just beep 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 beep, and then just tie it together and da-da, get some ribbon, spare ribbon you stole from your lovely girlfriend from her desk, and there you go, man. There you have it. Yeah, so Shadowdark. The claims, what themes Shadowdark claims to have. Okay. Shadowdark is a game about delving into dungeons, kind of dark, spooky, scary stuff, and lighting a torch, being the light, and having that light being attacked. When I say it's like D&D 5e, that's partly true, but it also has roots in old school R. R can stand for whatever the heck you want it to stand for nowadays, but old school revival, renaissance, whatever. It's like a simple version of Dungeons & Dragons 5e, and it takes a lot of inspiration from old school stuff. I'm getting bored of myself. How do I review this thing? We are the flame, they cry as they go into the dungeon. Friends, relatives, people of the world, I have Shadowdark. Look at that, beautiful. The book is perfectly compatible with pretty much every, 5e adventure module, but also more likely more compatible with old school stuff than 5e. It leans closer to that. Because old school, as I'm sure you know, but I'm just saying this so we both understand where I'm coming from. I'm not trying to sound like I know what I'm talking about. I've never played, the red box, do you know what I mean? But old school is more about, it's kind of horror in a way, right? You don't know what's coming up next. It's kind of like going into a dungeon is going into a dark hell where you don't know where the monster's gonna come from, and you're scared of losing your stuff, right? Like a rust monster was really scary, actually legit, right? So there's definite DNA of that in this, which is really cool to see because it really calls out to me. So, the mechanics, do they support the themes of this sort of almost gothic horror aesthetic of delving into the deep with your torch lighting the way and monsters coming out to tear your PC apart and to challenge you, and yeah, it sure does. So casting spells in Shadowdark is actually really neat, because it's not just cast and forget and then just for free like in classic Dungeons and Dragons. There's mishaps. And they can be pretty. It can prove pretty harsh how this game works. Essentially, you have to roll to cast. If you're successful, that's fine, and if you're not, that's fine. If you roll a nat 1 on your cast, there's a mishap that occurs. Now, this is the wizard stuff, and essentially, when you fail to cast a spell, not a mishap, but when you fail to cast a spell, you lose it for the rest of the day. You can't cast it until you rest. It's kind of brutal, because it could mean that you just lose a spell, and you don't ever get to have a successful chance of casting it, despite, being a spellcaster. So it's kind of like grittier in that sense, and I would definitely kind of homebrew that to be a little nicer, but a little more, lenient. But you can feel the kind of, it's like, yeah, man, things can go wrong. And they will go wrong. And it's really cool to see that, because that's how stories are made. But I had a player who was like, I'm going to cast a spell as they go into the temple to, like, cast a light. And then he rolled a 1, and then he blew up the party. And he almost died. And that kind of creates it's a funny story to tell, right? He didn't die. They revived him. Or not revived him. They stabilized him. So he was alright. But it's... anything that creates tension is a win. And Wizard Mishaps definitely creates tension. You don't know if this powerful spell you're going to cast might just blow up, literally, explosion, D8 damage is what happened, in your face. Which is really neat. That's what it's about. So, that definitely supports kind of the dark, gritty theme that this book wants you to think it has. And it does. There's also the kind of, not the equivalent, but there's also kind of divine mishaps, where it's not necessarily like damage that happens to you, but you do lose the spell if you roll a critical failure, and the god is displeased with you. Penance, here you go. The GM determines the exact nature of the penance you must undertake, based on your deity and alignment. Penance requires holy quest, ritualistic atonement, or material sacrifice you donate or destroy. That's really cool. So your god that your cleric or priest in this game is worshiping to is like, actually, you did that wrong, and you messed up somehow, so you don't get to cast that spell anymore. It's brutal, which is really interesting. I like this more than, D&D 5e. I think D&D 5e's magic system's really strong. Like, people really like it, but it's also a lot of bookkeeping. And the less bookkeeping there is, the happier I am. At the very least for for games with this kind of style and DNA. Alright, so it's really interesting to review a game like Shadowdark, because it nails on exactly what you want it to be. And as someone who doesn't really know how to review stuff, the only thing I can say is, like, it's like D&D, but it really is. If you want to introduce someone to Dungeons and Dragons who kind of like who understands, who's been around like sci-fi or fantasy, like they've seen Lord of the Rings and kind of get the gist, this is a great way to show someone, because D&D 5e, its character creation system is is great. It's like its own game, but it can take hours just to make a level 1 character. Where in this, you can just generate a character within not that much time. Like I had a group of 6 people, and most of them don't have a lot of Dungeons and Dragons experience, and we all created characters within an hour. That's so fast for like 6 people who don't know how to play, and within an hour, like you have to think, well, maybe it'll take someone who knows how to play, who has experience with these sort of games, 15 minutes. It'll take you 15 minutes to make a Shadowdark character. Well, you times that by the amount of people on the table. It only took an hour for 6 players. Is crazy fast, and it was really fun to get started and start playing. So the spellcasting mechanic right off the bat is really neat. There's also inventory. Carrying things is based off of your strength stat modifier. So I'll show you the character sheet, which is in the book, which is really... I'm never going to tear that out, by the way. It's just going to stay there forever. But this is a really good reference. It's very small, which is really nice, right? You don't have to... I would prefer... Here, actually, I have some examples. Shadowdark. You, right off the bat, this looks like kind of like a big index card, essentially. It's like A5 size paper, and you get the whole character sheet here. And it's, like... If that's all you need for a character sheet, that's pretty simple. It's just crunchy enough to be above mediocre. Like... I used to be really into this this system that kind of wanted to simplify 3.5 called Micro Light 20, and it's so mediocre. It accomplishes what it does, what it wants to do, which is just, let's play. But Shadowdark is, like, way beyond that. It goes above and beyond mediocre because everything it has is extremely solid. Like, you could totally, like this... I'm not good at reviewing stuff. Look, I just want to say something. This is all you need to play Shadow. It's just this, which is really crazy. I like having more, like, space. So you'll see here, one of my players, Papa Smurf, I got a big sheet for, which is, you can find this on itch.io, and this is actually really nice. I like having more space for stuff, that's all. But no shade to the character sheet for Shadowdark. It's just a little small. But totally usable, totally doable. But what I wanted to show why I pulled this up was the gear. You see here, so your gear matches your strength score, essentially. Or your carrying gear matches your strength score. So if you have a strength of 15, you can carry up to 15 pieces of gear. And I think that's really nice in a simplistic way of doing it. Tales of Argosa has something similar to that. I think we need to find ways... Folks, we gotta stop with the, carrying the canoe and the whole barn with player characters. I know it's boring to track stuff. I'm not gonna sit here and tell you need to track the weight of how many torches you carry, right? And the weight of how many, that's boring. We don't have time. We go to work, we go to school, you gotta take care of your kids, or your partner, or yourself, right? And your family. We don't have time to track gear. I'm not here to track gear. I'm here to play Shadowdark. This is a great, simple way of doing it, and to make it matter. Gear should matter. So, that definitely supports this kind of gritty nature of the book, for sure. Now, you'll see some stuff here. Ancestry, class, title, alignment, background, deity. Okay, this stuff's really neat. Just straight there, straight up. So, what's really fun about Shadowdark, it has a list of names. So what's really fun about Shadowdark is that it's kind of got this list of kind of names you can have that go with your class and your alignment, which is really, I think, really fun and really cute. Yeah, so titles. right? This is lovely. If you're a fighter, if you're level 1, if you're lawful, chaotic, or neutral, you're a squire, or a knave, or a warrior, and my players love this. This was really cool, actually, and I think this should just generally be for all, all RPGs at this point. Having a title, like, immediately kind of creates a sense of the style of your character right off the bat. It's like a short form version of your bond and backstory and everything. You already can come up with a million things by calling yourself, instead of just Henry, you can call yourself Henry the Bandit. Well, all of a sudden you have an idea of sense of who this character is from the tropes it has. So I think that's lovely, and the titles is really neat. I enjoy that quite a bit. So definite big plus. Definitely we should have more of that. The classes are really solid. Essential, but they're not high power fantasy right off the bat. They're very much still heroic, still heroes, but the ones that you can kind of relate to, struggling in the dark. I almost said underdark there. In the dungeon, in this stone hell that they go into. So that's really cool. Pretty interesting with the classes, because they are lower powered than what you think that it would be for a kind of D&D in 5e almost inspired kind of book, because you'll find a lot of things that you'll recognize, like advantage and disadvantage, but the strengths they have, these PCs have, is a lot lower scale. Like, I'm just winging this, but I think like a level 1 priest and like a level 5 priest in Shadowdark would be kind of the equivalent of like a level 2 cleric, in Dungeons and Dragons. Okay. Should you play Shadowdark? The theme's looking right at it. It's kind of darker. It's grittier. It's got this lovely art on it. It's about trekking through and surviving. And I'll tell you what. Yeah, you should play this. You should play this because it's not that hard to get started. It's super solid. Its rules. And the mechanics it has can let you just sort of play as you want. Now, you'll notice there's no skills, so that's pretty OSR, R standing for whatever the heck you want. And I like to believe that it's you just get it from your background, essentially. So if your background is a representation of your skills, your class and your ancestry also could be a possible, representation of your skills. And it was really easy to play that way. Shadowdark claims to be this dark, gritty, hardcore horror style of game. From the wizard mishaps and the gods not willing to give their priests power because of a mistake they've made, to tracking gear through your strength stat in a nice, luckily simple way, so it's not like horrible, to the timer that it talks about, with the torch timer and the light, the torch being an hour long, and the simplicity of it, where it's super fast to create a character. A whole spell can really just fit in like a small card. It's a lovely game. Yeah, it's super light. Attack the light, mishaps. It's the book claims to be fast. It claims to be gritty. Claims to be dark. Does Shadowdark accomplish all of that? It sure does. You should play this. It's great fun to play Shadowdark. It's really nice and if you want to just get, relax and go away from 5e and its kind of complicated rule system for a little bit, please try Shadowdark. It's super fun. And you don't have to play this way. It does come across incredibly gritty, but the reality is you don't have to play this like dungeon delving kind of horror style. Admittedly, trying to play it like a hero character might be difficult to fit for sure, but you can play just like heroes. Any setting would fit this system. You would just have to tweak a few things. What those would be, I don't know because I haven't tried, but I really believe that because how light the system is, it's begging to be homebrewed. You can fit so many different kind of classes and races in here because of how simple it is. So it's just begging you to put your hands in there and mold what you would like, mold your own world. And the monsters in here are fantastic, super easy to read. They have like really defining traits that are kind of just like are scary, right? That kind of you're like, oh, that's why that's a monster, right? Which is really neat. They're terrifying, and a whole bunch of tables to roll on, which is always lovely to see. Look at that. There's no real implied setting in this book beyond the kind of gritty nature, kind of almost lower fantasy nature of it. So I would definitely recommend you try Shadowdark. It's a great book, yeah. I suck at reviewing stuff. I can't. I don't know how many times I've tried this. I want to be better at this. I want to do a good job. I want you to like this. I want you to like this book. So, I don't know how many times I said it. This is Shadowdark. I have a little piece of paper beside me telling me how to review, and a bunch of little notes and a thing. But, essentially, Shadowdark, at the end of the day, with its nice safety blanket of the D20 system. How many times have I said that? I didn't come up with anything. We're cutting that. Shadowdark, with its easy introduction to other players who either haven't or have played Dungeons & Dragons, it's got that nice, easy-to-read D20 system, no dark vision, treasure XP, which I probably didn't bring up in previous... Okay. Shadowdark, with its no dark vision to any of its races, its nice separation of class and races, unlike old school, its random character abilities, where you kind of roll the talents to see what you get. So it's a progressive growth, but it's a progressive growth, but it's kind of like natural. Instead of you min-maxing, you kind of just get it, which is really cool. That's how you tell a story, right? The characters have low HP, which makes, like, the wizard has D4. Thank God. Thank goodness. Why does the wizard in 5e have D6? That's too much. Give him D4, make him squishy. That's perfect. No skills. You kind of have to rely on your background and what else on your character sheet for your skills, which makes it so you kind of like, you're like, well, I'm a noble as my background, or I'm a herbalist as my background. So you can use that to further your character, which just, like, it's more storytelling together, which is the whole point. Roll to cast spells, so not every spell is a guarantee. There is mishaps that can happen. Treasure XP, I didn't cover that, but it essentially, instead of you getting XP from a fight, you get XP from gold, from valuable treasures and boons. I think that's perfect, because that means no matter what, the whole point of you going down there for whatever reason, whether that's to afford the cure for your family, or to whatever reason you may get gold, whatever reason you're going down there is to get gold, and that translates to XP, and there's ways to like get that. Like, I love this is a really cool way. XP as gold is a really neat system, and I think that's something we should have more, because it's also not complicated. Like, D&D 5e's math for its characters' XP is kind of rough to look at, right? You're looking at a giant spreadsheet. I feel like bookkeeping for a company. You know what I mean? So this is nice. It's simple numbers. The highest it goes up to is like 3 digits. Like, thank goodness. There's also the simple encumbrance, which we covered, which I love. It means that encumbrance is important, but it's easy to track. And something I didn't bring up was, in combat, it's a simple system of close, near, far. So, close being, these two folks fighting each other. Imagine this is you. You're the little dog guy, and this is a little evil goblin with sunglasses. kind of like dancing, doing the Fortnite dance on you, and you are here, and this is like you are in close. This is close range, so you're in combat. This is like 5 feet essentially, and this is kind of near. So this is 30-ish feet, right? So you can shoot a bow from here, and he can't attack you unless he has like a spear or something. And this is far, like longbow, that kind of thing. This is with like 60 feet, and I would say this is 120. It may be different in the book, but it's 30, 60, and 120, or 30 and 120. It's definitely 60. So it's definitely 60. Forget that. But it makes combat fast. Like the professor, I forgot his name, but the dungeon master professor for Dungeon Craft, his whole like ultimate dungeon terrain is wonderful for just running combat. I like grids. I like tactical combat. Some people like the crunchy stuff. I like the crunchy stuff. I'm with you. But when you're running a game with people who've never played before, this just really makes sense. It really does. Okay, this is a bad example. This is a really crappy card cutout that I quickly on. But what I mean is the distances just make sense. It's very abstract. And if you're like, you have someone like that's not in combat outside and they're just hanging out, it's like, well, what happens when I get here, you know? Fair. But I like it. It makes it fast. And that's what the whole point of Shadowdark is trying to sell you. That it's nice, it's fast, it's light, it's simple, but it is just that's what it wants to advertise itself as, with this mechanics, with dark, heavier themes of the dark, Shadowdark. You know, your heroes going into the dungeon, and you claim, "We are the light," as you light your torch, and then it gets attacked with a goblin with a water bucket, and then you're just in darkness, in blackness, right? And you're fumbling around trying to light the next torch, and it really wants you to feel like there's monsters in the darkness waiting to strike the second the light goes out. That's what Shadowdark's about. Get the book. It's lovely. I think like that we won, guys. Like the Kickstarter, like for Shadowdark, it has like $1 million, and the Western Reaches campaign, I think, is like 3 million Canadian right now. Like, what are we like? I like Dungeons and Dragons, you know. But it's time we break new ground and get away from Hasbro and see what's out there. And Shadowdark is definitely leading the way for that. I don't think anyone expected that. I don't think the creator did. But she seems very lovely, because she talks about on their channel, she talks about the book and in her interviews, and she says, I'm kind of surprised it came out this way. And yeah, most likely the OGL debacle with Hasbro, how it treats its employees, and the kind of failure that 5.5e was, that Shadowdark comes out swinging and absolutely annihilates all of those issues. Now, I should go over things that you may not like about Shadowdark, you know. I think it's great. I think you should play it. If you want to play high fantasy adventure, like Dungeons and Dragons, or maybe Pathfinder, this isn't for you. It's not very crunchy. It's more rulings than rules. It says that in the book. And I personally like it that way. But I understand if you don't, and that's totally valid. That is a totally valid. If you don't want to play that way, that's totally valid. Now, that's the real me saying that. The reviewer me is going to tell you that as not valid. Everything I say is right, and what I'm telling you, everything I say is correct, and I'm telling you that the only way to play is rules, not rulings. Maybe it's easier if there were. I've never played a Pathfinder 2nd edition, but maybe it's easier for more rules to lean on. That does sound nice. But right now, for this, rulings is king. Turns are always on in a dungeon. And the torch rules is really fun. Play Shadowdark. It's a good time. I like the book. Okay, that's it.